I will take this moment to thank you all for being here on a very, very, very special evening for the Arts Café Mystic, in particular, honoring our 7 students, poet laureate from neighboring high schools. Um, you all know how hard it was to do this. I thank you all for taking the risk to be here and to be outside. We've got a pretty good setting. We've got some fresh air and some good light working in our favor. So I won't belabor it too much. And I think we'll just get to work. Most of you, I think, with the exception of my volunteers and board members, have never been here before. Elizabeth, you have. But I represent the Arts Café Mystic, which is in its 26th year of providing poetry, literature, and music to this beautiful hamlet in this southeastern part of Connecticut. We've been operating out of the Mystic Museum of Art for 26 years, and this is our first live show since the world as we knew it, shut down about 6 months ago. So we're grateful for the space and the open air, and we're lucky to live in such a beautiful place that we can even gather in these really troubling times. It felt very important for me as the director of the Arts Cafe to try to do a live show for the students whose lives have been so shut down. And so in this limited, which doesn't feel limited at all, it actually feels infinite. In this beautiful, infinite space. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to tell you just a bit about how the evening's going to unfold. We're honoring 7 student poets laureate from 7 local high schools, 6 from Connecticut, and 1 from Rhode Island. We'll hear from each of them, and we'll have a musical interlude, and then we'll hear from our featured poet, who is also where's the security? Um, um, then we'll hear from our featured poet. We're going to keep it moving as fast as we can. I think that's it. Our featured poet, Elizabeth Thomas, has some books that will be for sale at the end of the show. And right now, let's just get on with it. What we like to do is have the students work together for a day, and as they speak to each other and work together, a sort of logical evolution of how they'll read their poems comes together. So the students have chosen their own order tonight, and we're going to start. What I'm going to do is introduce all 6 poets to you. They're going to come up, and then I'm going to disappear, and then they're going to read their poems. Okay? So I'm going to introduce them. They're going to come up. They're going to stand here for a minute, and then you're going to get to hear their work. So I'm going to start with Dana Goettler, who's the student poet laureate of the Marine Science High School. Dana's going to be attending Hamilton College in the fall. They're adapting very well to the coronavirus. Some things she might be missing are the typical college experience, but overall, I say I got lucky. She loves English classes above all others. She'd love to turn poetry into a career. So when you do that, let me know how to make that happen. Probably supplemented with a novel or 2. I believe in you, kiddo. We've got several Edgar Allan Poe, several of our poets have Edgar Allan Poe as their favorite. Dana is one of them. I love when we asked, how do you write poems? How did you get started? Everyone usually started in kindergarten. Maybe it was about a dog. Probably no one liked the poem as much as you did, but eventually started coming across things to say that were just not suited for sentences. I looped smoothly through aimless blank verse and eventually back into a free verse that sounded cogent to me, at least. So here's Dana Goettler, the poet laureate from the Marine Science High School, who's also my new life coach. Okay, Dana, just grab a seat, okay, and we'll hear from you in a second. Next, we have Madeline Horkey from Montville High School. Madeline's favorite subjects are social studies and science, so I have a lot of questions for you about that. We've got drama, cross country, lacrosse. Like most of us, Madeline's looking forward to going back to concerts in person. Favorite writers are Louisa May Alcott and Rudy Francisco. What she loves about Alcott is her attention to detail with her characters and Francisco's discussion of social issues in his pieces. So, part of reading these bios for me has been a reminder of how wildly alive my mind was when I was 17 and 18 and 22. And this is a call to being awake from each and all of you. So, thank you. We'll hear your poems in just a minute. Our third poet laureate tonight is Julia Browning from Norwich Free Academy. Her favorite subjects are English and history. She's a rising senior at Norwich Free Academy. Do you have career aspirations yet? I want to go into the humanities when I'm older. You're already into the humanities, my dear. Everyone wants to see their friends and families more when they can travel. So thank you for verbalizing all of that. I love to express myself through poetry and to be able to share stories with others. I started writing poetry when I was about 6 for some of these reasons. So good for you. Keep at it. You're 11 years in. We need you. I mean, you started at 6, so you're 11 years in. We need another 55, 88 out of you. Okay. So grab a seat, sweetie, wherever you feel comfortable. Amanda, where are you, doll? Amanda Rowe from Waterford High School. I've always loved English, especially creating my own pieces over other assignments. I love creative writing in general, and my mom is a big inspiration because she's a writer too. There's something about being in your own little world when you write or read fiction that I've always enjoyed. Like many of our other student poets laureates tonight, Amanda's really involved in the drama club. Lots of Edgar Allan Poe. Favorite poem, The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. So sorry, Seagull. You're out of luck. But in good common ground. Thank you, Amanda, for being here. Vic, where are you, doll? Vic Raymond. Great. So we have our first Rhode Island student. I'm crossing the lines here because I live in Rhode Island, and Rhode Island has such an amazing literary arts community, and in particular, a wonderful high school where I've had the opportunity to work with many of the teachers in the English department. So it was wonderful to actually be able to have the team from Westerly decide to go through the process and select a poet laureate. You are our first Rhode Island poet laureate, Vic, and I'm so glad to have you here. She most looks forward to going out to eat with friends and family, starting at CCRI. Vic is a big abstract thinker, so the poetry comes to her. For me, I see something and I've got to try to write it down exactly the way it happened. So I admire abstract thinkers. I don't know how to do that too much. Vic takes her poems and the imagery that she sees and tries to turn it into something else. And we welcome you here so much tonight. Thanks for being with us. And then we've got Kylie Heard from Groton, Connecticut. I met Kylie's parents when I was about her age growing up in Ledyard, Connecticut. And I want to honor her grandparents, Sally and Roger, for providing a haven for me when I was a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old poet, writing poems about the things that were happening in my own household where there wasn't really an audience for them. So here's to what we plant, one and all of you, especially those of you, and I know so many of the teachers aren't here tonight, but those teachers who have created a safe place for children who are our elders to be able to express themselves in the way we most need. So these are our student poets laureate. We've got Dana, Madeline, Julia, Amanda, Vic, and Kylie. Could you please stand up and be recognized? And let's do it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dana Goettler. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for braving the wide outdoors and coming to this, and also thank Lisa Starr and Elizabeth Thomas and the entire Mystic Arts Cafe for putting this all together and helping us through it. It's much appreciated. This first poem is called Daedalus. Tell me, inventor, tell us all, what did you think through Icarus's fall? Tell us when first something felt off, and when you knew that all was lost. Was there a glint in his eye when you warned him that the wings you'd laboriously formed him were fragile, loosely hobbled? Did he smile while he nodded? And when at last he took the breeze, under wing, over the sea, for how long did he listen? How long before he climbed and the wax began to glisten? And while your stomach twisted, did your heart rise with him? Did you think Apollo, in his steady golden race, might be humbled by this emblem of youth's golden grace? Tell me, inventor, tell us all, did you call out through Icarus's fall? Did he, or was his voice drowned out by the sea god's greed? Did his hand reach up to yours? Did yours reach down to him? Did your fingers brush, spawning hope, killed young and paper thin? And did you wheel about in search all through the night, or did his fall at Apollo's bow seem just too just and right? Let me, inventor, pour you a drink to chase the sea from your eyes, and tell us all what happened when freedom fell from the skies. The second poem here is called Song for Ophelia. I went down to the river by the crooked willow tree, and I saw, in the water, as if gazing at me, a girl. A girl, fair in complexion and fairly surprised, open eyes fixed on cerulean skies, lips still parted in some merry song. Oh, child, child, what have you done? I pulled her out and laid her down on the sun-soaked back of the fertile ground, but no sea of sun can awaken the drowned, so I made her shroud of an earthen mound. Oh, child, child, what have you done? Life's cut short, but the river runs long. Oh, child, child, what have you done? Life is stopped, but the river rolls on. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Madeline Horkey, and I'm representing Montville High School. And of course, thank you to Lisa and Elizabeth for helping us out today. And thank you to Arts Café Mystic for hosting, and thank you the audience for, risking out a little for us for our poetry. And the first poem I will be reading is called Not Like Other Girls. You say to a boy, "I'm not like other girls," practically begging on your knees for validation, pleading for their trust. Out of his mouth next is a series of insults to the tribe from which you come. You claim that being like a girl is what makes them undesirable, that well-done hair and nicely trimmed nails are as deadly as the plague. The inherent weakness of a woman is why she is subservient to men, and if she wants to be equal to men, she must act less like a woman. The hard truth is, he does not want you for your individuality, but for your easy willingness to ignore all of the women before you, to scoff at their work for a boy who thinks you are better silent. When our maternal ancestors fought for us, would you have stood in the picket line with them? When our mothers were told they couldn't be a part of history, would you have told them otherwise? I would rather be told that I'm like a girl than to be told I am malleable. I am the suffragette who fights for her cause. I am the soldier who goes into war when she's told she never could. I am the mother who is gentle with her children. I am just like other girls, just as I should be. There is something mysterious about her. She stares into your eyes just long enough for you to feel vulnerable, but not long enough for you to understand what her eyes are saying. Most people have blades for pupils, stabbing you every time you make eye contact, but not her. There is something mysterious about her, but I can't put my finger on it. Every day she encases herself in frustration and anger so tightly that the air in the room locks into place around her and folds them warm. You'll never see her content, that is, until she knows for certain that she is the most magnetic person in the room. There is something mysterious about her, but I can't figure out what. She sinks her teeth into your flesh with every laugh, and her venom washes over your mind, making you forget that you are powerless. Making you forget that she has never looked into your eyes the same way you do hers, or that she hasn't run around in circles trying to figure out the perfect word to describe them. Oh, and by the way, hers are the color of soil after a spring rain, of varnished oak panels, of dark chocolate, or of old suede, of perfect coffee, of old lovers, or of forgotten memories. But she already knows that, but she'll pretend that she doesn't.
Hello, my name is Julia Browning. I'm a rising senior at NFA and would like to take the time to thank all of you for being here and also to thank Lisa and Elizabeth, the whole Mystic Cafe, and also our amazing lights and sound crew for helping set everything up. So thank you so much for all coming here to hear our poetry. We really appreciate it. My first poem is called Moses. He parts the waters like a figurehead, waves crashing against foamy robes, dripping with salt and sea and sand and time, painted lips weathered by the wind and skin peeling into slithers. From the banks we watch as he floats on a sea of broken glass, ruby and umber, scarlet and ember, beams of light staining the sea red. Before he left, he promised to deliver us from evil and protect the innocent from persecution. We're praying to God to deliver us, please. The sky is swirling. Is this a miracle? He rises from the sea, and the water parts like a ripple of a sinking stone. He beckons us forward as our feet sink into the muddy silt of the riverbank. And through miracles and mirages, wind and water, he will always deliver us. He's our figurehead. My second poem is called I Am the Daughter of New England Woman. I was born of New England woman. Straight-laced and God-fearing, the devil peered into their eyes and spoke sermons of crystal-coated fear. She must be an abomination. Look how sinful dancing barefoot in the grass must be. Watch her painted lips and short skirts. She, no I, should be burnt alive. I was born of New England woman, strong-willed and stern. They pulled roots from the rocky ground and cast potato skins into the depths of watery soup. Thin and love-starved, hands knotted, they knitted strands of prayers between dashes of cloves and ginger, silent names calling out patience and retribution. I am the daughter of New England woman. My grandmother scrimped and saved and folded fabric squares into quilts. My other grandmother taught me how to listen for ghosts and watch the vultures cry in the fields of her hometown. I am the daughter of New England woman. I feel the fire crackle in my bones and the smoke curl upward. I will not, cannot, be burned at the stake like them.
Hello, my name is Amanda Rowe, and I'm a rising senior at Waterford High School. I'd like to thank Lisa and Elizabeth and everyone here that's helped us get to this point, the audience. And this first poem that I have is called The Labyrinth, and it's a short story that I like. I've walked these winding paths for days. Much longer I won't last. Although I can't see sun or sky, I feel that time has passed. A stale air lingers as I drag my feet upon the ground. My jagged breath a skipping song, the only present sound. The walls stare down from every side, bones scattered all about. Mementos of the many men who never made it out. They sleep along the dusty walls, the travelers who failed to ever leave these whispering halls. The river Styx they sailed. The sustenance I brought far gone, my lamp ran out of steam. My eyes revert to only see a blackened color scheme. I slink against the dusty wall as darkness suffocates, until I look far up ahead where light illuminates. I breathe the sky, I'll see the sky, the shine a wish come true. The darkness gone and sun ahead, I bid hard times adieu. I've walked these winding paths for days, I finally found the end. My pain is lifted as I rest and join the other men. Thank you. And the second poem, it's a little more lighthearted. It's called Minor Inconvenience. Sometimes there's things that plague your day and make you want to scream, like the feeling that won't go away when you wake from a good dream. The bench is wet, the table crummy, there's gum upon the floor. You let a sigh escape your lips and push the pull sign door. You take a test, but that answer change turned out to be correct. Your pencil squeaks, you lose your place, your Bluetooth won't connect. The floor is slightly sticky and the air around is soggy. You want to see the nighttime sky, but can't because it's foggy. Empty glue sticks left in drawers, holes in socks and petty wars, alarms not ringing set for early, rolled up posters always curly, hole punch pages punched uneven, $1 off from breaking even. Half your drink is made of ice, without these it'd be paradise. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Vic Raymond. I'd like to thank Elizabeth and Lisa for allowing me to be here, representing Westerly, Rhode Island. My first poem is called Throwing Stones. I've been throwing stones up at the stars, as if hitting them knocks your name from my heart, as if hitting them makes my past a little less dark, as if hitting them hurts less than watching the cars. I've been throwing myself to the universe edge, as if getting there is going to make this hurt any less, as if getting there is going to make me relentless, as if getting there is one more step away from distress. I've spent all of my time watching faraway lands, as if watching is going to take me to them, as if my silence is making you understand, as if nothing is quite what it used to be then. I have been throwing stones up at the stars, still skipping across light years of dead rocks, the bridge you had built I will never cross, as if hitting them knocks your name from my heart. This one is titled Biblical. The winds burn like fire, bloody, strong, biblical. And if I believed, I would pray, but the only altar I stand at is the one within my soul. The last breath is a struggle, tortured, strong, biblical. And if I believed, I would ask for mercy and beg for a brand new life. The train is loud, the voices are loud, and if I believed, I would lay myself down on the tracks. Inevitable, strong, biblical. And if I believed, I would hold on tighter to all that I have lost. But it's better to let go. I am bloody, I am strong, I am biblical.
Hi, my name is Kylie Heard, and I'm going to be a senior at Fitch High School. I'd like to thank everyone one more time for being here, and give thanks to Lisa and Elizabeth for putting this together, and everyone else here. My first poem is titled Briefly Homeless, and it's about my long-distance relationship. Only hours ago, I left your arms with tears streaming down my cheeks. I passed through TSA with puffy eyes. Each step through this airport projects me further and further into my own emotional labyrinth. I want a way out. I search for gate F2, my exit to this brutal maze, or so I think. I sit and wait for Zone 4 to board the plane, and catch myself thinking of you, of us. And because you make me feel at home, for this time I am briefly homeless. I'm no longer in your embrace, and I'm not yet back home. So I sit here in seat 13A next to a strange man, briefly homeless. The seatbelt light dings on, jerks him awake. We will be experiencing some turbulence ahead. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. All these bumps and jolts, each a different emotion heaved straight towards me, and I feel helpless. Sadness, rumbling, confusion, crashing, heartbreak, thudding, and I feel helpless because there's nothing I can do except hold on tight and close my eyes and hope that I can navigate my turbulent emotions from 35,000 feet up where I am briefly homeless. So my next poem is a Villanelle-style poem, and it is titled Suffering's Blade. I always fear I cannot aid in relieving another's silent ache. I don't know the sting of suffering's blade. To hear a friend has felt dismayed of what could I possibly make. I always fear I cannot aid, because I've never felt truly betrayed, always someone to relieve my heartache. I don't know the sting of suffering's blade. My heart protected by a palisade, I peer over to see pain which others take. I always fear I cannot aid. Because I cannot break this barricade, I've never felt my own heart break. I don't know the sting of suffering's blade. Yet I wish I did, so that my conveyed empathy could be real instead of fake. I always fear I cannot aid. I don't know the sting of suffering's blade. Thank you.
Um, we have one more student poet laureate to honor tonight, and that would be Jenna Foltz from my alma mater, Ledyard High School. Jenna would have loved to have been here tonight, but she moved on into this beautiful kingdom of sky on January 23rd, and I first met her at her memorial service about a week after she died. And so her father, Steve, was a classmate of mine. We all go separate ways. We meet at reunions. We try to keep in touch and send each other pictures of our kids. Steve and Brenda Foltz had one of the most extraordinary daughters in the history of the world. And she left the planet on January 23rd. We're so grateful to honor her tonight as Ledyard High School's poet laureate. Like many of the students here tonight, she was an actress, she was a singer, she was a poet. Her heart came before anything else, like most of you, and I'm so grateful that I had the chance to introduce Jenna to the 6 students who are here today working, to know that there are people that you might find a way to love and who love you that you maybe even never met face to face. I have no doubt that Jenna Foltz is here with us tonight in spirit and with each of you as you go on with your journeys and your beautiful and strong and sacred voices. You have all taught us so much tonight. Jenna's aunt, Lisa Ann Curtis, is going to share with us 2 of her poems, so we'll invite her up here tonight.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Ann. I graduated Ledyard High School in 1992. So I'm here as Jenna's aunt, and thank you for including her and her parents and family and friends. We are all very grateful to have her art. She drew, and she was filled with music and drama of all sorts, and of course her poetry. And so the wonderful thing about art is that it lives on and on and on. So maybe you young poets here today can think of that too. The first poem I'm going to read is Colors of Nature by Jenna Foltz. I feel like something was missing my whole life, but when I walk outside, I can see that the birds and the bees are not what they seem. They are the ones who sing back at me. What is this feeling of warmth inside? I can see it now, oh so clear. They are the ones who look out for me. We sing our song to pass on the legend of our life. We light up the world, oh so bright, so everyone can see. It's just the world and me. So if you ever feel down and don't know what to do, just go outside and look around. The creatures are there for you. Every twig and blade of grass has its own story. The truth of the world in all its glory. The oceans have a tune of the mysteries below, and the meadows have a melody they like to show. For the colors of the day are bursting into the night, the forest with its secrets of the past. Yes, you see the world in its beauty. And the colors of nature are sung proud and true, for the lakes, lagoons, and rivers reflect the golden sun, and the birds swim gracefully through the sky. So if you're feeling down and feel all alone, just go outside and see the wild grow, for it will understand your soul, just the colors of nature. This poem is called I Am by Jenna Foltz. And I hope that when you hear her words, maybe you can imagine her strength and whimsy and very gentle spirit. I am a gleaming silver dragon within a world of darkness, a sly wyvern with blue mist eyes that seek peace instead of violence. I am a prancing unicorn among a field of grazing horses, a graceful fairy with shimmering wings that reflect the sun's beauty. I am an enchanted mare with the magic of azure and lilac, a perky Pegasus who can barely lift her hooves off the emerald meadows. I am a small griffin who is both brave and bold, an elegant phoenix that is neither red nor gold. I am a nimble little angel with mighty wings that carry the Lord. A delightful demon with bright red roses entwined with my horns. I am a drake with no muscles, but instead very wise, a basilisk that smiles kindly at the one who hides. I am the one who stands out in a world of similars, an imperfect princess for her own little kingdom. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, for sharing Jenna's poems. Thank you all for sharing Jenna with us. So one more time, friends, for our amazing student poets, Julia, Jenna, Dana, Kylie, Madeline, Vic, and Amanda. And one more round in particular, I think, for the teachers that really help support you, because that's not always easy to find. And many of them couldn't be here for reasons of needing to quarantine before going back to work. So it's grief that most of the teachers felt for not being able to be here tonight. How do I introduce Kat Kylie other than the... Oh, thank you. Down in front. Yeah, how do I introduce Kat Kylie other by saying she left Block Island at about 5:15 tonight to get here at 4:30. So I first heard Kat sing when she was about 12 years old. I've been blown away by her ever since. I've been trying to get her to the Arts Cafe for a couple years. We've had a few snags. Today, she reversed time, ferry boats, overcrowding on ferry boats, made it from Narragansett to Mystic in about 38 minutes, and we're not even going to ask her how she did that. You can read her bio in the program. You ready, Kat? Let's do it. Here's Kat Kylie. For those of you from the area, Kat has huge connections everywhere, but the Daniel Packer Inn was founded by her grandfather, Dick Kylie, and her family members still run that establishment. Give it up, baby.
I'm so glad to be here, and I'm also so glad to be here with a bunch of student poets, because I was a student poet, and now I'm a musician, and that's how I'm very inspired by all of your poetry as well, because writing lyrics is kind of like poetry, and I don't really fancy myself as very natural at writing lyrics. It takes a lot of time and effort for me to do it, and your guys' poems were just so gorgeous, and the language was so beautiful. So, yeah. This is my first song. I wrote it. It is the title song of my first EP, and it's called No Man's Land. And I wrote it when I was probably y'all's age, the high schoolers, not everybody else. I'm not your age yet. Yes, I am no man's land. I'm a neutral party. And when you talk to me, all that I can say is I'm sorry that I'm wrapped in chicken wire and you're all throwing bombs. But I guess we're all just sleepwalking, of course. Oh, of course. Yes, I am decimated to live in hell. I've seen the worst in you, babe, but I've seen the good as well. And why are we fighting, darling? Look deep in your heart. Because, Lord, oh, I know that it's tearing me apart. Because I know that you don't wanna hurt me, and I know that you don't care. And I know that you love me, and I know that it's not fair. Oh, and you know that I'd never leave you, no matter which one you are. But for now, I'm gonna let it fade to dark. Yes, I am decimated, it's a living hell. I have seen the worst of you, babe, but I've seen the good as well. And why are we fighting, darling? Look deep in your heart. Because, Lord, oh, I know that it's tearing me apart. And I know that you don't wanna hurt me, and I know that you don't care. And I know that you love me, and I know that it's not fair. Oh, and you know that I'd never leave you, no matter which one you are. But for now, I'm gonna let it fade to dark. But we come together on Christmas Day, and we tell each other to stay, oh stay. And I pretend that it's alright, and you pretend we never fight. Because I know that you don't wanna hurt me, and I know that you don't care. And I know that you love me, and I know that it's not fair. Oh, and you know that I'd never leave you, no matter which one you are. But for now, I'm gonna let it fade to dark. Thank you. The next song I'm gonna play is another song that I wrote, and it's about believing women, and it's called Cassandra, and I was told by my parents that I need to explain this because not everybody knows the story of the Iliad, and I thought that they did. So Cassandra was a prophet who was cursed by Apollo that she would only tell true prophecies, but no one would ever believe her. So she was my inspiration for writing this song. I think that's something that happens to a lot of women.
She'll be crucified for it, and still she goes into the viper's nest, and the doubt it grows. She may not come out alive, this she knows, but still she goes. And the pressure's coming down, the mountain's about to burst. She doesn't know what's coming, but she expects the worst. The road's tough ahead, but she knows she's not the first. Cassandra, you're braver than you thought. They say that's what you get when disrespecting a guy, but only us, we know the truth. Yeah, if you like it or not, a woman's gonna fight for you. Yeah, a woman's gonna fight for you. Think she's confused, but she's crystal clear. The Trojans don't wanna listen to a female seer, but she screams at the top of her lungs, but no one seems to hear. Well, they're gonna hear. Yeah, they're gonna hear. And when your time's up, baby, you know the end is near. Yeah, when your time's up, baby, you know the end is near. Hey, Cassandra, you are braver than you thought. They say that's what you get for disrespecting a god. Oh, but only us, we know the truth. Yeah, yeah. If you like it or not, a woman's gonna fight for you. Yeah, a woman's gonna fight for you. A woman's gonna save you.
Thank you. Those are the only songs of mine that I remember how to play right now. So my next song I'm gonna sing is by an artist called Haley Blay. She's a Canadian artist, and the song is called "Be Your Own Muse." And I think it's a song that's very much filled with poetry, but also I just really I fell in love with it immediately when I heard it because it's about like wanting to have somebody, and at the same time being like, sometimes you've got to stop yearning and just like pick it up and do it yourself, and be your own muse. So.
I wanna be the one you adore, missing for weeks under your floor, and you're joking around instead. I wanna be the one that you kiss, stroking joking around too. I guess sometimes it's a hit or a miss, and you lose. I guess sometimes you just have to be your own muse. I wanna be the one you adore, missing for weeks under your floor, and I'm joking around too. I wanna be the one that you read, the front page of newspaper, thrown at your feet. I'm doing fine on my own. I guess sometimes it's a hit or miss, and you lose. I guess sometimes you just have to be your own muse. I guess sometimes it's a hit or a miss, and you lose. I guess sometimes you just have to be your own muse.
And then the next one I'm gonna sing. How much longer do I have?
1 or 2.
1 or 2? Okay. It's a classic Cat Kylie repertoire. Because the first time I ever sang in front of people with a band, I sang this song because Miley Cyrus had just covered it, and I thought it was so cool. And then as I grew up, I started to really respect the lady who sings this song a lot. And this is Jolene.
Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 please don't take him even though you can. Your beauty is beyond compare, but ain't locks of auburn hair without every skin as of emerald green. Your smile is like a breath of spring, your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolene. Oh, Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 please don't take him even though you can. Well, he talks about you in his sleep, there's nothing I can do to keep you from crying when he calls your name, Jolene. Oh, but I could easily understand, or you could easily take my man, but you don't know what he means to me, Jolene. Oh, Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, Jolene. Oh, please don't take him even though you can. Now you may have your choice of man, but I could never love again. Yes, he's the only one for me, Jolene. Well, I had to have this talk with you. My happiness depends on you. Whatever you decide to do, Jolene. Oh, Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Oh, Jolene, 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 Jolene. Yes, please don't take him even though you can. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Please don't take him even though you can.
You done? I don't. One more, you done? Up to you, though. Up to you. Trust your gut. One more.
What do I know?
Folsom Prison. What about Folsom Prison? Folsom Prison.
I don't know. There is one that I could sing a cappella that I require everybody to suspend belief for a second. Okay. All right. I'm honestly, my voice is like my first instrument, and I learned all my other instruments in order to sing by myself. You could probably tell. But this song is a song that I really like, obviously, and it's a Beyonce song. Don't let that deter you. And I'm just gonna sing it. Run away from the water. Tell the tide don't move. I'm a rock, I'm a march on the regular, turning white flags blue. Lord forgive me, I've been running blind in truth. I'm a rage on this bitter love, till the sweet I'm new. Ooh, I'm telling these tears going fall away, oh. May the last one burn into flames. Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose, yeah. Freedom, freedom, where are you? 'Cause I need freedom too. I break chains all by myself. Won't let my freedom rot in hell. Hey, I'ma keep it running 'cause a winner don't quit on themselves. Hey, I'ma keep running 'cause a winner don't quit on themselves. Thank you guys so much. Well, thank you. Thank you to everybody for letting me be here. Thank you to the poets for inspiring me as well.
Just huge thanks, to our 7 student voices before Kat. There's a good reason why I asked her 5 times, right? And we blocked a spot. We almost got a ticket here to create parking for her, and there's a really good reason for that. I can read Elizabeth Thomas's bio for you, but I don't need to. I've known Elizabeth in my heart for about 20 years. I met her through a sort of peripheral writing circle. And about 18 years ago, when I started my own writing series on Block Island called the Block Island Poetry Project, I knew that I needed, really the best teacher of poetry that I could have. Lots of people can write good poems. Not everybody, but a few people can. And out of those few people that can write amazing poetry, only a few people can really teach it well and share it well. Elizabeth Thomas is one of the finest teachers of poetry that I've ever met. only because it comes straight from her own heart. Her own voice as a poet disappears, and it was extraordinary to observe her from a distance and close up today, working with the students that she worked with. So Elizabeth Thomas was the first teacher I hired at the Black Island Poetry Project, and it all comes full circle tonight. Elizabeth, her poetry will speak for itself. She's got some books for sale at the back table, so if you have a minute afterwards and you want to take some of her poetry home, we'd be grateful if you did that. Here she is, Elizabeth Thomas, my dear friend. Welcome.
And I, too, would like to thank Lisa and thank the Arts Café and the lighting people and the sound people and all of you for coming out on this gorgeous night. I was so concerned that it might not be a nice night and we'd have no audience. So thank you all for being here. I'd like to start with a poem that I wrote many years ago. It's one of the first poems that I began sharing in the classroom with kids. I do a lot of work in the schools, and this was one of my first visits to a school, and it was actually Colchester, an elementary school in Colchester, and it's called Revelation. I use it to begin with because it helps to center me a bit. Revelation. His t-shirt says, "I am God." And I think, well, my lucky day, I'll run over, shake his hand, ask for an autograph. I might never have this chance again. But as God sits there waiting to step into the vice principal's office, I look closely at his faded t-shirt, 2 sizes too big, sneakers older than he is, thin legs swinging barely long enough to reach the floor, dirty hands massaging a dirty forehead, and think, this is not God. This is a little boy who maybe swore in the lavatory or tussled on the playground, a child who probably forgot to eat breakfast, did not expect a goodbye kiss. When he gets home from school today, he will let himself in with the key that hangs around his neck. He might help himself to Twinkies and a glass of Coke, a microwave pizza in front of the TV. Struggling to raise his head, the circles under his eyes slope down toward his chin, pick up the lines around his mouth, and carry it down as well. It's not easy taking care of the world. Using the back of his hand, he trails snot and tears across his face into his hair, which heads out in all directions, as if just lifted from a pillow. He looks neglected, like homework after a long weekend. This boy ain't been loved in a long time. I want to walk over, kneel on both knees, use my sleeve to clean his cheeks, tie his sneakers. He looks up, and in his eyes, I see my own son. Unable to look away, I want to say something, make some excuse, beg for forgiveness. But this is God. What could I possibly say that he does not already know? Thank you. Thank you. Try to be very organized here. This poem is on words and English teachers. Hello, my name is Elizabeth, and I am an addict. I have struggled my entire life, born with this craving passed on to me by both my parents. As an infant, I could not sleep without it. No amount of rocking or binkies or passies helped quell my desire. I needed what I needed, a bedtime story. A bedtime story complete with happy ending, preferably read by my father, since he did better voices than my mom. Dad reveled in his role as primary pusher man until I found a new connection on the playground of first grade. Mrs. Dodge and her wooden leg, a fascination for any 6-year-old. The thunk, thunk of her cane was an immediate call to attention. She smelled like chalk dust and chocolate, and on Friday morning she'd pick me to read out loud from the red velvet chair at the front of the classroom. I longed to show the pictures to the class and hungered for the smell of each page. But it was the words I craved, how they tumbled, bumped my tongue and teeth, the way they tasted like bubblegum birthday cake exploding in my mouth like pop rocks on acid. There was no kicking this habit. Finally, my own chubby fingers became nimble and learned what it took to spark the page. I wrote my own stories, pages now torn and yellowed, held together with faded orange yarn, strung through loose leaf holes, jumbled in a box somewhere in my basement. That year, our family moved away from the familiar old neighborhood and left everyone behind. Words became my only friends, and I gathered them like some kids collect baseball cards or rocks. I hoarded homonyms and palindromes, oronyms and curse words. I owned a special library card and wrote my first poem that year, feeding an increasing ache. In high school, Mr. Secord believed thoughts and words were often messy. Some of the best ones spilled beyond the margins of the page, and Miss Saul and Mrs. Nicholson encouraged me to find them. Then, pregnant at 16, writing became the white horse I couldn't kick. I clung to that tale through years of uncertainty, using poetry to puzzle out questions with no answers. While the rest of my life dissolved around me, I felt complete with a pencil in my hand. These days, I don't even try to hide it. I'm proud to say hello. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm an addict. Hey, kid, I've got something for you. I think you're going to like it. Thanks. So this next poem, it probably needs to be updated a bit with what's been going on in the last 6 months and what's coming up this September. But I haven't updated it quite yet. It's called Are You Listening? As teacher, I listen to the words of our children, the poets and prophets, the loners and lost ones, the lines that they write through clenched teeth and veins, words spilling over that can't be contained. While margins expand from the weight of their witness, their hearts crack like fractions till nothing remains. These days when I listen, don't know how they journey past splintering bullets, past standardized tests. Each stutter breath filled with bravado as they crouch in a closet, dive under the desk. Lives are unhinging while classrooms now lock. These are the lessons our children are taught as we struggle with freedoms and reap what we've wrought. He is 11, going on ancient. Money is tight, father long gone. His face is a mask and he's dying behind it. Alone in the corner, so much can go wrong. She is 13, wants someone to love her, but thinks she's too fat. Her brace is too bright, though she's willing to do whatever it takes to look perfect and airbrushed. Who cares that it's fake? What makes you happy? I question these children. They're finally quiet with unimpressed eyes. I want to help them unclench their fists right past the pain, revise their lives. I ask, what's on your mind? Their faces blank pages like no one but Facebook has asked them this question. This is so hard, says a girl in the back row. And I take a deep breath because she's not the exception. I wish to offer them hugs and erasers, pencils and fist bumps and limitless paper, a safe place for tears, a night sky to write on, their words bursting forth like shooting star dreams, a faith that the future is not what it seems. Thanks. I'm kind of sticking with the school poems here, figuring with the high school poets it would be appropriate. So this is called "Seeing You on Facebook," and I do try to sing a little bit in this, but I don't have a very great voice, so just have to go with it. Seeing you on Facebook, and I am again 13, in love for the first time. The way love ought to be, all raging hearts and red balloons, forever and always practicing our first kiss in the bathroom mirror, awake all night choosing the names of our children. Why do birds suddenly appear? Of course, you had no idea how I felt until I passed you the note at school, the note I poured myself into for weeks. Every time you are near, so much to say, so many revisions, so many exclamation points. I wanted it to be perfect, and it would have been if I hadn't dropped it in the middle of social studies class. We both watched the many multicolored pages flutter slow motion to the floor. I expected crash or thunder, but the only sound was the thwacking of my heart, like a clacker on steroids. And while your face contorted as if confronting a rabid dog, I wanted to disappear, so even Magellan could not find me. And then Mr. F picked up the pages and read them to the class. His forced falsetto, his foul breath punctuating each line, pinky extended as if drinking from a china cup. Dear Jamie, I love you so much. Each letter O, a tiny heart. I wanted to crawl between the pages of some book on ancient battles, fought far, far away, a war where everyone dies. So when the bell finally rang, I was the first one out the door, followed closely by you, heading in the opposite direction. Now, all these years later on Facebook, someone posts a photo from our 8th grade prom. You in your father's too large suit, your arm around somebody else. Your face more baby, your smile more smirk, looking much less handsome than I remember. But if I close my eyes, just like me, they long to be close to you. Thanks. So I just wrote this poem this past Mother's Day, Mother's Day 2020. It's a little different for me, but I thought I would try it tonight. I speak for the pandemic. It tells us this is the time, oddly enough, for healing. Today is the day our mother will take a deep, exhaustive breath, then let it out. Here, the sweeping wind. Here, the spring rain. And over here, the nights now quiet enough to listen to birds sleep. Leaves bud, flowers bloom, and life begin again. Of course it does. Again, and yes, again, with no particular help from us. Thank you. So, from the mother poem, this is a poem about my mom. I do two poems about my mom. This first one is called Lies My Mother Told Me. If you keep eating raw spaghetti, you'll get pinworms. And then I'll have to make a necklace of garlic for you to wear each night until they go away. If you're mean to your younger brother, I'll know, because I have a special eye that spies on you when I'm not there. You cannot hide from it, so don't try. If you touch your down there, anytime other than when using the toilet, your hands will turn green and fall off. If you keep crossing your eyes, they'll stay that way until the wind changes direction. It is bad luck to kill a moth, because moths are the souls of our ancestors, and it just might be Papa paying a visit. If you kiss a boy on the mouth, your lips will stick together, and he will use the opportunity to suck out your brains. If you ever lie to me, God will know and rat you out. And sometimes God exaggerates. Trust me, you don't want that to happen. Thank you. This is another poem from my mom. She was at she lived at the retreat in Hartford. It's assisted living. She lived there for a few years until they kicked her out. She calls me up one morning. And actually, it was my son who called me, and he said, "Ma, what's the matter with Nani?" And I go, "I don't know what." And he says, "Well, she just called me up and told me to get a truck and come pick her up. She'll be by the side of the curb with all her stuff." So anyway, that's my mom. And so this is called Writing Workshop, Senior Assisted Living. And I did a number of writing workshops there for her and several of the other residents. And this was the first one. And I say, write about the most beautiful thing you ever saw. And I am surprised. You are bent over and writing. You see me staring and give me the look I am often accused of. You look just like your mother, though I do not see it when I look in the mirror. You bring your attention back to the paper, but not before I notice your mouth is smudged with lipstick. Again, I am surprised, wonder where you found it and why. Who would like to read, I ask this group of women, women not allowed to cook or clean or do their own laundry. This end of their lives abrupt, like a familiar road washed out by rain. And one tentative hand after another raises to read until you are the only one left. I'm ready to move on, save you the anxiety, But you adjust your glasses, and in that voice scraped by cigarettes and coffee, you unfold the tiny square of paper held tightly in your hand and read about two redbirds, one hurt, the other trying to help. You end with, poor birds. And I say, write about the most beautiful thing you ever saw. And I see the wrinkled photograph, you at 15 or 16, before Dad, before any of us. You wear trousers like a man and rest a booted foot on a large rock, a forearm to thigh, a hand to sassy hip. You look directly into the camera, no thought, no concern for this day and your future. Not knowing, I will conjure you whole when writing about the most beautiful thing I ever saw. Thank you. Thank you. And I'd like to end this, before I do my last poem, I'd just like to say thank you again. You're a great audience. And this has been a wonderful evening. I want to thank the Poet Laureates for hanging out with me today, and Lisa for inviting me. So this goes out to all the mothers out there. It goes out to the dads, the teachers, the coaches, the mentors, people who make a difference in our children's lives. It's called Mother's Work. In Bangladesh, she kneels upon a bamboo mat, old shoe and broomstick nearby, the way her mother taught her. A midwife spreads sanctified mustard seeds across the doorstep of this rural birthing room to ward off Zin, the evil spirits lurking. In the Middle East, she lies on the floor, smells incense and straw, drinks water from Mecca. The laughter and assurances of women guide her through each contraction. And in this country, we lie on laundered sheets in brisk hospital rooms. We spread our legs. You can do it. Push. And push we do, ready or not. We swear to Allah, Buddha, Jah, the souls of our ancestors, the Great Spirit, to God, for the safe delivery of our children. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. At the breaking of our water, we will sacrifice whatever it takes. A lamb, a milking cow, a red egg, alms to the poor. My Muslim sisters, Hindu sisters, African, Christian, questioning sisters, mothers all. And this is only the beginning. We'll set aside ego like a tarnished bracelet once thought gold. We want our children to grow up big and strong. Yet each day they walk out our doors, past the old shoe, the mustard seeds, beyond the bloodied lamb, into the arms of a uniform, patrolling arid borders, dust blown up their noses, dogma down their throats. They do not look both ways before they cross the streets into the barrios of South LA, the shadow of suburbia. They accept candy from strangers in schoolyards, walk through the doors of Sandy Hook, Virginia Tech, take the elevator to the top floor of Tower 2, into the mountains of Afghanistan, standing next to a car detonated to destroy with no regard, a plane set to plummet. They board buses in Britain and Jerusalem, explosives strapped to the pregnant bellies seated beside them. Mother Nature, Mother Tongue, a mother's work is never done. Holy Mary, Mother of Christ. Now those were some shoes to fill, yet a mother she was, with the same love and ultimately same grief, wanting no less for her son. And until the writing of this poem, I never envisioned my own crowning, a princess after so many boys. Back then, they would not have known to paint my room pink, to buy lace dresses and dolls. They would not have known until after the slap, that first breath of sterile air. Congratulations, it's a girl. lights too bright and focused. No wonder our eyes remain closed. We do not want to witness this uncertain future. We do not want to see our mothers vulnerable, our fathers pacing in smoky waiting rooms, searching for a dime to call home, a prayer to whisper in our ear. Thank you.
Venus is the one that usually guides us through the evening and sees us through the morning light through most seasons. Venus is even, well, if you're a scientist, you might not know this, but Venus is the planet of love. It isn't that the thing that drives us all through the madness and all the suffering and all the sadness and all the joy of coming together. This has been an extraordinary evening for all of us here. I can't really see you all. It's one of the reasons I prefer to sit in back. I'll just say thank you all for coming. A brief announcement from me, since I haven't done it yet. I need to thank the extraordinary board of the Arts Café who makes these events happen. Many of you are here for the first time. This is our 26th year operating out of this building, primarily because of the dedication and heart of an extraordinary board of directors. I think 4 of them are here tonight. I've got John Sutherland in the back, Christy Williams, Thea Moore, and Julia Simpson, I think are the 4 represented here tonight. I also have some extraordinary volunteers. Christopher Greenleaf has been doing our sound from the beginning, Jim Marshall on video. I've got Paul and Melanie in back who also helped with the volunteering, and Kate Moffat. So to my own team that helped make this happen, I'd like to give them a round of applause. And I think anything more that I would say would be superfluous. I think we've had the beauty of being together with the inspiration of our young, courageous hearts and souls, mentored as they have been, or forging their own paths as they've needed to. So my heart goes out with huge gratitude to all 7 of our student poets laureate who have opened and scratched my heart. And thank you for being here. Consider coming back to the Arts Cafe, signing up for our website, our notices on the way out. That's the pitch I have to make. Hopefully you'll do that on your own. Thank you for being with us, and stay safe and keep loving each other. So far it's working, wouldn't you say? Good night all.